If a woman ignores you, act like this. Old Stoic wisdom. In life, we all encounter moments when we feel ignored or overlooked, especially in relationships. This can feel particularly frustrating, as you've likely spent years learning the importance of respect, communication, and emotional understanding. But what if the solution isn't to react impulsively or let emotions take control? Instead, there's an ancient form of wisdom that encourages a more calculated, peaceful approach. Stoicism, a school of philosophy that has withstood centuries, provides practical tools for handling such challenges. By focusing on control over our reactions and choosing not to give in to emotional turmoil, we can rise above the situation with grace and strength. This principle can be particularly powerful when navigating the complexities of relationships, especially when a woman seems to ignore you. Quote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Ho Seneca. Ping. At stoicismwin, we embrace the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, encouraging you to grow not only in knowledge, but in resilience, understanding, and emotional control. The next time you're faced with a woman who seems to ignore you, remember, it's not the situation itself that defines your peace, but your response to it. 1. Understanding the psychology behind female silence, how to respond and win. When a woman ignores you, don't panic, don't chase, don't start questioning everything you are. Do you know why? Because she's doing it on purpose. I know this firsthand because I've done it to men. Good men, strong men, men who deserve better than the mind games I played. I've seen it all confident men morph into anxious wrecks when I withdrew attention. Secure men questioning every move they made when I chose silence. And you know what? I loved it. I loved the power it gave me, the control, the way they scrambled to win me back. But here's the truth, no woman will ever admit openly when we pull away. It's almost never random, it's calculated, it's strategic. It's a test designed to get a specific reaction, and what we want to see is how you'll respond. Will you chase us? Will you panic? Will you try to win us back? Or, and this is the big one, will you do the one thing that terrifies us? Act like you don't need us. That is the game. Here's the psychology behind it. When a woman pulls back, she's testing your emotional strength. She's testing your frame, your confidence, your ability to stay centered when she stirs the pot. If you crumble, if you start sending endless follow-up texts or asking your buddies what went wrong, we've already got you. Your emotional state is now on display. We know we have power over you. That's when we lose respect, because it shows us that your peace is entirely dependent on our approval. And when we see you perform harder and harder, desperately trying to get back into our good graces, we know you're not as strong as you pretended to be. But, and here's the real kicker, when you don't chase, when you remain calm and centered, when our silence doesn't even faze you, that's when we start to panic. We've been controlling the game up until this point, but now we're losing. The power dynamic shifts. You, my friend, have just leveled the playing field. You must never mistake this for weakness. This is when the tides turn, but only if you handle it properly. You see, the silence is not all the same. Different silences mean different things. If you misunderstand the silence, you'll ruin everything. There are 3 kinds of silence that women use to test you, and understanding them could be the difference between losing her respect or gaining her admiration. Let's break them down. The first kind is the cold silence. This silence is when she's deliberately withdrawing her attention to see how desperate you are for validation. She's expecting you to beg, to reach out, to perform. The second kind is the indifferent silence. Here, she's not angry, she's just detached. This silence is to see whether you can handle emotional distance without flipping out. It's the most dangerous kind because it's easy to misread. But the worst of them all is the punishing silence. When she's angry, frustrated, or hurt, this silence is her way of keeping you at bay while she evaluates whether you can truly handle the discomfort she's feeling. Now, here's the real lesson. No matter what kind of silence you're facing, you must stay strong. You cannot let her silence break you. You cannot show her that you're vulnerable or insecure. If you do, you've already lost. Instead, embrace the silence like a true stoic, calm, unflinching, centered. When you don't chase, when you don't give in, when you act like her silence doesn't even matter, you win. That is when you'll make her regret ever playing that game in the first place. Because the way you handle silence will either solidify your power or show her you're weak. And you, my friend, must always be the one who holds the power. The ball's in your court. 2. The test silence. A game of power and patience. When a woman goes silent, is not always by accident. In fact, it's often a calculated move designed to see how you'll respond. This isn't just a simple test of your patience, it's a test of your character, your resolve, and your ability to stand firm in the face of uncertainty. Think of it as a challenge, one where the stakes are higher than just a response to a text. The test silence isn't just about being ignored. It's when you find yourself sending a message, seeing those little ticks that indicate she's read your words, and yet, no response. It's when she's online, scrolling through her feed, but somehow manages to ignore your very existence in that virtual space. If you found yourself in this situation, you're not the only one. The silence is the test. The question is, how will you react? She's not really ignoring you. She's testing you. Here's the truth. The test silence isn't about your message or whether you've said something wrong. It's about power and control. When a woman goes quiet, she's curious. She wants to see if you'll chase. The way you respond, or don't respond, is what defines you in her eyes, and this is where the Stoic wisdom can guide us. Don't chase, be the calm in the storm. The first mistake most men make in this scenario is chasing after her attention. The natural impulse is to send multiple texts, bombard her with messages, or even accidentally comment on all her posts to keep the conversation alive. This is the opposite of what you must do. The ancient Stoics believed in mastering oneself, in controlling how you react to external events. The outside world, with all its noise and chaos, should not dictate your inner peace. When she goes silent, this is your opportunity to practice Stoic calmness. Be the man who does not need to chase. Be the man who understands that his worth is not determined by another's response. It's a test of your patience, your self, discipline, and your strength. The power of silence. Remember, silence can be just as powerful as action. In the world of the test silence, your response, or lack of response, speaks volumes. Do not be desperate. Do not be needy. Instead, stay confident in who you are. You must be the type of man who holds his ground. Be indifferent to her silence. It's not about being cold or unkind. It's about being self-sufficient. You are not waiting for her approval to define your happiness. She may be testing you to see if you'll chase, but you must be the rock that doesn't move. Your focus should be on your own goals, your own life. This silence is temporary. Your self-respect is not. The agenda behind silence. Here's the catch. The silence isn't random. It's a power move. She's not trying to push you away. She's seeing if you can maintain your composure. It's a way of seeing how much you value yourself, whether or not you will fold under the pressure. You must remain steady. The power dynamic is at play here, and you have to recognize that. Do not allow her to hold the reins of this interaction. Women, like men, are attracted to strength. This is not the time to cower or second. Guess your actions. The more you chase, the more you weaken your position. Be strong, be calm. What to do next? So, what's your next step in this game of silence? Don't overthink it. First, understand this. Her silence is not a reflection of your worth. You must continue to be the man you are, the man who has a life outside of this dynamic. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, taught that our peace comes from within, not from external validation. Your peace, your self-assurance, does not depend on whether she responds or not. When you stay calm, stay steady, and refuse to chase, you set the tone, you define the rules, you control your response, not her silence. If she sees you as a man who is not desperate for her attention, she will be drawn to that stability, that calm. You're not desperate, you are in control, and that, my friend, is a position of power. The test silence is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity. It's a test of your ability to be patient, to be stoic, and to hold your own when faced with uncertainty. When a woman goes silent, do not panic. Stand firm, continue to live your life, and let her see that you are not defined by her response. Be the man who remains unmoved by the silence. That is the true power. If you found this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I remain calm and composed in the face of silence. This simple affirmation aligns with the Stoic wisdom of remaining grounded, even when tested by silence or apparent indifference. 3. The processing silence. Don't panic, don't chase, don't spiral. When a woman pulls away and goes silent, you must stand still like a mountain. You must own your ground like a warrior. Her silence is not always about you, it's often about her. It's called processing silence, and it's real. Maybe she's overwhelmed, maybe life hit her hard, maybe her emotions are clouded, but none of that changes your role as a man. You do not beg, you do not pursue, you do not crumble. Epictetus, one of the great minds of Stoicism, taught this with crystal clarity. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So if she disappears from social media, if her friends say she's going through something, take a breath and take control. This is not the time to fall into weakness. This is the moment to win. You must embrace the silence like a Stoic. Do not fill the void with needy texts or desperate energy. Don't try to solve her storm. That's not your job. That's not your battle. Your role is to remain centered, steady, and sharp. The man who wins in life doesn't let emotions run him. He commands himself. He owns his time. He stays focused on his mission. Stoicism tells us again and again, control what you can. Release what you can't. Her silence is not your responsibility. Your reaction to it is, remember this. You do not need her validation. You do not need her explanation. What you need is to remember who you are. You are not here to be picked or approved. You are here to build, to lead, to conquer. Let her go quiet. Let her step away. Let her wonder. The Stoic man doesn't chase. He doesn't crumble. He waits in strength or moves on in power. You are not here to solve someone else's confusion. You are here to win. Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Her distance out of your control. Her silence out of your control. But your power that is yours. That is always yours. Don't hand it over. Let's be clear, this is your training ground. Every moment of uncertainty is your chance to sharpen, to rise, to lead yourself with purpose. You don't ask, what did I do wrong? You ask, what must I do next? You do not flinch. You do not freeze. You face forward, stay disciplined, train your body, sharpen your mind, build your empire. This is how you win. This is how you become unshakable. Silence doesn't break you. It builds you. So don't chase her. Don't wait by the phone. Don't lose sleep. You are a man of focus, of strength, of resolve. This is the ancient teaching. This is Stoicism. This is Epictetus. And this is your code now. If a woman pulls away, you don't collapse. You conquer. If she goes silent, you don't respond. You rise. You keep winning. You keep moving. You keep building your kingdom. In the end, either she will return and find a stronger man, or she'll vanish and clear the path for something greater. Either way, you win. 4. The rejection silence. When a woman chooses silence over communication, whether through delays in text, vague responses, or outright ghosting, it's easy to feel lost or uncertain. But here's the truth. Old Stoic wisdom offers a powerful blueprint for navigating such situations. Rather than reacting impulsively, the Stoic principles teach you to act with composure, unaffected by her silence. This is about owning your emotional state, taking control, and understanding the true value of your own presence in her life. When she goes silent, don't panic, don't chase, don't overanalyze, don't try to decode her every move. You must rise above the game she's playing and mirror her energy, not with emotional response, but with deliberate calmness. The key to handling this silence, no matter the type, is to recognize it for what it is, a test of control. When a woman pulls back, you must be the one to not react. In fact, mirror her energy. If she takes hours to reply, you do the same. If she cancels plans, you make no fuss and move on to something else. Mirror her energy, but without a hint of emotion, without anger, and without the intention of teaching her a lesson. Just focus on your own life. This may sound counterintuitive, but it's the one thing that drives us mad. Why? Because as we test you with our silence, we expect you to chase. When you refuse to play that game, you strip away the power we thought we had over you. The manipulation falls flat, and what was once a subtle tool of control becomes irrelevant. You've made it clear that you're unshakable, that your peace and emotional state don't depend on her moods. Take it a step further. While she's busy playing her games, you are busy mastering your own. Don't spend your time obsessing over her absence or looking for clues about her behavior. Instead, immerse yourself in self-improvement. This is your opportunity to step into your own power. Hit the gym harder. Focus on your work. Reconnect with your friends. Pursue hobbies you've neglected. Invest in your growth, building the life you want with or without her. As you do this, your life becomes infinitely more interesting than the games she's playing. If she's watching your social media, she'll see your transformation. She'll see a man growing, thriving, and becoming undeniably confident. And if she's been playing hard to get, your absence and self-assuredness will force her to question her next move. Here's the beautiful part of this process. Whether she comes back or not, it won't matter as much as it once did. You've built something for yourself that's far more valuable than any relationship. Real confidence grounded in independence and self-respect. This confidence, not reliant on her validation, will make you magnetic to others and change how you see yourself. Suddenly, you're not in the business of chasing, and you're certainly not investing emotional energy into someone who doesn't reciprocate. You become the man who doesn't need to be pursued, because you've learned that your value doesn't lie in someone's attention. It lies in your integrity, your growth, and your ability to respect yourself enough to not be ignored. But here's where it gets even more profound. When she returns, and she will, if only because of the psychological effect of loss aversion, you must stay true to the mindset you've cultivated. Don't fall back into old patterns where you're just happy she's back. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that true peace comes when we stop seeking validation from others. If she comes back, don't roll out the red carpet. Maintain your distance. Stay focused on your own life and make her earn your attention. You've now flipped the script. The power dynamic has shifted, and now you're the one in control. However, here's where you must be careful. Not all silence is the same. Sometimes, a woman's silence isn't a test. It's abandonment. Recognize the signs if she's been unresponsive for weeks with no explanation, if she's consistently active on social media but avoids you, or if mutual friends tell you she's fine but not mentioning you at all. That's not silence, it's rejection, dressed up as a game. When you see this, withdraw completely. Stop checking her stories, stop waiting for a reply, and stop wasting energy on someone who's no longer invested in you. Old Stoic wisdom tells us to preserve our peace by knowing when to walk away. In the end, women will respect what they can't control, and they will lose interest in what they can manipulate. When you mirror her energy without emotion, when you don't chase or react, when you focus on your own growth, you become unmanipulatable. This is the true mastery of silence, Stoic principles in action. You stop being a pawn in her emotional games and become the king of your own life. If she never comes back after you implement this behavior, it's not a loss, it's a win, because you've just filtered out someone who wasn't deserving of your time and energy. You didn't lose a woman, you lost a problem. You've emerged stronger, more focused, and with a clear sense of your own value. And that, my friend, is a victory worth more than any relationship. Now, go out and be the man who cannot be ignored, not because you're chasing attention, but because you've built a life that others can't help but notice. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. 5. Mastering your emotional independence. When a woman withdraws her attention, don't panic. Instead, treat it as an opportunity, not a crisis. The real test of your character is how you respond in this moment. In a world full of emotional highs and lows, mastering emotional independence is a crucial life skill. It's not about seeking validation or approval, but about holding your ground, knowing your worth, and staying true to your path. This principle of emotional independence ties directly into what the Stoic philosophers have long taught us. The core of practical Stoicism lies in the idea that you should not be shaken by external events. You must train yourself to remain unaffected by the opinions of others, said Epictetus, and his words resonate now more than ever. So, how does this apply when a woman pulls away from your attention first and foremost? You don't chase her. You don't grovel, beg, or spiral into self-doubt. This is a powerful moment to embody Stoic rules. Rather than scrambling to regain her focus, focus on yourself. Be so deeply engrossed in your own life that her attention, or lack thereof, doesn't rattle you. If you let it, you're revealing emotional dependency, a trait that most women find unattractive. Don't react, respond. When a woman withholds her attention, don't give in to the urge to react. This is where the Stoic notion of control what you can, accept what you cannot comes into play. You cannot control her feelings, nor should you try to manipulate them. Instead, you control your own reaction. Responding calmly and with clarity shows emotional maturity. It's a display of strength and confidence, not desperation. That is the key difference between a man of wisdom and a man of emotional volatility. A Stoic man is like a calm river, unmoved by the ripples of others' actions. When you master this emotional resilience, you demonstrate a level of inner peace that is magnetic. Women, like anyone else, are attracted to strength, not neediness. Keep your own life and priorities. The foundation of emotional independence lies in living your own life. Don't let anyone, not even a woman, become your sole focus. Pursue your passions, cultivate your interests, develop your career and friendships. Paths of wisdom teach that true independence comes when you are self-sufficient, not reliant on others for your happiness or fulfillment. If she steps back, you don't lose yourself. You don't put your life on hold, wondering why she's not responding. You simply carry on. You are the architect of your own happiness, not the woman in question. She may come back, or she may not, but your happiness and well-being should never hinge on the presence or absence of someone else's attention. Don't let your emotions be dictated by external forces. The more you invest in yourself, the more attractive you become. It's that simple. Remember, you don't need anyone's approval to be content. This is the essence of practical Stoicism, living with internal equilibrium, unaffected by the whims of others. The true power of emotional independence? What truly attracts women? It's not the man who chases after them, groveling for their attention. That is the surest way to drive them away. Instead, it's the man who is self-sufficient, who has his own life, his own passions, his own sense of purpose. A Stoic man doesn't look for external validation because he knows his worth. He doesn't measure his value based on the attention or affection he receives from others. This is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about becoming emotionally invulnerable, in the sense that you're not shaken or affected by fleeting emotions. When you understand this, when you master emotional independence, you no longer need anyone's approval. This is the path of wisdom. You can still appreciate someone's company and affection, but you never need it to feel whole. Be the man who's grounded in his own life, who values his own journey over the fleeting attentions of others. This emotional strength is the real attraction. Stoic rules remind us to stay centered in the face of life's ups and downs. Whether a woman withdraws her attention or not, it's of no concern to you. You continue on your path, unshaken. Conclusion. Mastering emotional independence is a key aspect of becoming a Stoic man. It's not about withdrawing from relationships or shutting yourself off emotionally. It's about knowing that your happiness doesn't depend on the validation of others. Paths of wisdom teach us that true strength comes from within, and that emotional stability is the bedrock of all meaningful relationships. So, The next time a woman pulls away, don't chase, don't react with desperation. Instead, remain calm, stay focused on your own life, and continue living according to your own values. In doing so, you will master the art of emotional independence and, in turn, become a more attractive, resilient, and confident man. That is the real power. 6. The power of ambiguity in relationships. In the complex dance of relationships, the power of ambiguity is often underestimated. When a woman pulls away, whether intentionally or subconsciously, it's a test of your emotional control, of yourself, discipline, and of your inner strength. You must recognize this and take action accordingly. Do not chase her. Do not beg for her attention. This is where true power lies, your ability to remain grounded and composed when she seems distant. As Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, taught us, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond. In these moments, you are not at the mercy of her actions, but the master of your own. Ambiguity in relationships creates space that you must fill with composure and confidence. When you hold steady, you demonstrate strength. When you show that her distance does not disrupt your peace, you earn not only her respect but also her curiosity. She will wonder what it is about you that remains unshaken, what inner power you possess that she cannot easily manipulate. This, in itself, ignites a new level of interest, desire, and attraction. In the modern world, it's easy to become reactive and emotionally driven. We live in a time where instant gratification is just a click away, but real strength comes from resisting the urge to chase. You must act with intention and patience, as Epictetus would advise. Freedom is the only true possession, he said, and this freedom is born from within. To win in relationships, as in life, you must first win the battle within yourself. When faced with ambiguity, you must stay calm, stay steady, and resist the temptation to pursue. This is not about playing games. It's about playing for mastery over your own life, your emotions, and your actions. Your behavior will speak louder than any words you could say. Women are drawn to men who know their worth and who remain unaffected by the whims of others. When you stand firm in your sense of self, when you refuse to be rattled by the ebb and flow of someone else's actions, you create a magnetic pull. They can feel it. The uncertainty in her actions becomes a challenge to her curiosity, and you become someone she wants to understand. Your emotional stability is the key. Don't waver. Don't fold. Keep your distance, not in a way that feels cold or dismissive, but in a way that communicates, I have my own life. I have my own strength, and that is more than enough. Stoicism teaches us that external events do not define us. It is our response that matters. In this situation, your response must be unwavering calm, decisiveness, and mastery over your desires. By embodying these qualities, you do not just survive the ambiguity, you transcend it, you win respect, you win admiration, you win her curiosity, and in doing so, you win the relationship. To navigate the ambiguity, you must be clear about one thing. You will never settle for less than what you deserve, and you will not let anyone's behavior dictate your emotional state. This is how you use ambiguity to your advantage. This is how you win at the game of relationships. In today's world, where so many are caught up in the need for constant validation and instant connection, your ability to remain unaffected, steady, and disciplined will set you apart. Like Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Your reaction must be one of strength. When you face uncertainty, when she pulls away, you must be the rock. Become the man who doesn't bend the tides of others' emotions. You will not chase her approval. You will not chase her attention. And by doing so, you will draw her in. Remember, this is about winning respect, curiosity, and ultimately, the relationship itself. Use Stoic principles to master your response to ambiguity. The moment you master this, you will not only win the relationship, but you will win in life. If you're still with me, you've already learned the power of embracing ambiguity in relationships, While others might chase and beg for attention, you know that creating space sparks curiosity and respect. Take control, act with stability, and let the intrigue grow. Now, I want you to comment below with "I create space and let curiosity work for me." 7. Setting boundaries with silence. When a woman ignores you, it's easy to feel like you've been thrown into a game you didn't sign up for. But here's the thing. Silence is not an accusation. It's not a challenge. It's not about you at all. That's the first rule you must understand if you want to navigate this situation like a man with an iron mind. Guided by Old Stoic wisdom, you must act with poise, self-control, and unshakable boundaries. The moment you let her silence dictate your actions, you've lost the game. Don't chase her attention. Don't seek validation. That is the first mistake. Instead, embrace the power of silence. Use it as an opportunity to demonstrate your strength. You must set clear personal boundaries, and one of the most profound ways to do this is through silence itself. Old Stoic principles teach us that emotions, especially when provoked by external forces, should not dictate our responses. Silence from someone we care about can often stir frustration or confusion, but in those moments, you have a choice: react with desperation or respond with calm detachment. The choice is yours. The more you chase after her, the more you show that your peace of mind is at her mercy. Don't allow that. Be someone who controls his own emotional state, not someone who is a slave to it. You must establish firm boundaries around your time, your energy, and your emotions. When you stop pursuing her validation, you communicate that your worth is not up for negotiation. And when you make that clear, you shift the entire dynamic between you two. This doesn't mean you should become cold or distant, but rather that you must learn to value your own time. Be a man who knows when to engage and when to withdraw, just as the Stoic would. By refusing to be swept up in the emotional chaos of mind games and misunderstandings, you show that your peace is non-negotiable. There is great power in this. Silence can be a tool of strength. It's the Stoics' answer to emotional manipulation. By honoring yourself through silence, you send a powerful message you're no longer someone who is desperate for attention. Instead, you are someone who has mastered his emotions, someone who values his peace more than playing games. And here's the thing: when you stop chasing her, when you stop seeking her approval, she may begin to notice. Women are naturally drawn to strength, and nothing is more magnetic than a man who is at ease with himself, one who is not shaken by the whims of another person. When you stop reacting, you allow her to come to you, should she wish to. You must remember that by setting boundaries with silence, you're teaching not only her, but yourself a valuable lesson. That lesson is one of self-respect and mutual respect. Old Stoic wisdom tells us to be indifferent to the opinion of others, to hold steady in our values and boundaries. When you stop chasing, you allow the relationship to evolve into one based on respect, not games. Remember, you are the captain of your ship. Don't let anyone, including her, have the power to steer you off course. Be like the Stoic, centered, unwavering, and unbothered by external noise. By valuing your time more than her attention, you build a life that is governed by your principles, not hers. That is the ultimate power. Silence isn't a weapon to be feared. It's a statement of strength, a powerful tool in maintaining your iron mind. So the next time a woman ignores you, don't panic, don't chase, don't beg. Set boundaries with silence and watch how the dynamic shifts. 8. The strength of detachment. In the heat of the moment, when a woman goes silent or withdraws, it can feel like the ground beneath your feet is shifting. The temptation to act, to chase, to fix, to solve, rises within you. But here's the truth. True strength isn't in the action. It's in the detachment. This is one of the core tenets of practical Stoicism, the ability to detach from emotionally charged situations. Don't get caught in the drama. When faced with emotional turmoil, it's natural to want to jump in and do something. But, as the Stoic philosophers would tell you, the moment you lose your sense of calm, you've lost control. Stoic rules aren't about suppressing emotion or pretending to be unaffected. They're about acknowledging the situation, and then choosing how you will respond. A woman's silence doesn't demand an immediate reaction. That is the path of wisdom, choosing to be grounded, centered, and unaffected by the emotional winds around you. The key is this detachment isn't about indifference. It's about maintaining your peace in the face of external chaos. It's about being steady in your own mind and heart, even when everything around you is unstable. Embrace calm in the storm. When you embrace the Stoic mindset, you understand that your emotions are not your masters. Your actions are not dictated by external events, not by a woman's silence, not by anyone or anything else. The calm you choose to embody is the true strength. It's not about pretending to be unaffected. It's about refusing to let emotions control you. Remember, this is a skill that takes practice. The more you practice detachment, the more you grow in emotional resilience. It's the difference between being reactive and proactive. When you react impulsively to her silence, you lose your power. When you detach, you keep your composure, and that is exactly the kind of strength that earns respect. Be the calm you seek. Here's the simple truth. Silence is not a problem to be solved. It's a space for you to show your inner strength. Stoicism teaches us that we can only control our own reactions, not the actions of others. The paths of wisdom show that the more we focus on controlling our own minds and hearts, the less we are affected by the actions of others. The moment you stop seeking external validation or fearing external circumstances is when you truly begin to embody Stoic principles. When she ignores you, don't fill the space with desperation or frantic action. Be the man who chooses calm in the chaos. Trust in yourself. Detachment is a form of trust. Trust that you are enough as you are. Trust that no external situation can shake your internal peace unless you allow it. Detachment means understanding that you are not reliant on her actions to feel whole. Whether she engages with you or not, your value is unshaken. This is a profound lesson in emotional self. Regulation, the art of remaining steady, grounded, and composed, no matter the circumstances. If you want to master practical Stoicism, this is one of the most important lessons. Your emotional state is your responsibility. Don't give that power away to anyone. Be the steady force in your own life. When you master the ability to detach, you'll discover that no situation can throw you off balance. The power of Stoic wisdom in relationships. The reality is simple. You can't control her actions, her moods, or her silence, but you can control how you respond. True strength lies in choosing not to be swayed by her behavior. When you embody detachment, you demonstrate emotional control. You are not at the mercy of her moods. This is the ultimate act of confidence and self-assurance. And this, my friend, is the path of wisdom that every man should walk. You must learn the art of detachment, not just to navigate your relationships, but to navigate life itself. The Stoic rules are timeless, teaching us that our emotions do not need to rule us. Instead of reacting to every situation, you take a step back, you breathe, you assess, you decide, and you choose to remain steadfast, unshaken, calm. Conclusion: master the strength of detachment. When a woman ignores you, act like this with grace, with calm, and with emotional strength. Do not seek to control the situation, but instead, control yourself. Follow the Stoic principles, practice emotional self-regulation, and you'll find that no silence, no pause, no withdrawal can disturb your peace. That is the strength of detachment. It's not about ignoring others. It's about remaining anchored in your own truth and power. Choose that path of wisdom, and you'll be unstoppable. Alright, that wraps up today's video. If you found this content valuable, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for more insightful videos. Your support means a lot. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree with the Stoic approach, or do you have any personal experiences or insights to share? Feel free to drop your feedback and thoughts in the comments below. I'm always open to hearing your perspective and having a meaningful discussion. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay calm, stay strong, and always keep your mind sharp. Until next time.